Do, do, do. Oop. Is it? Oh, technical issues.
No.
Aha! This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I'm joined by Lizzy and Luke Fischer of Tattered Tales. Wow!
You write something on my face.
Hello, hello.
I feel like I should wave. It felt
It's
like
a double-handed
the
wave.
right thing.
Jazz hands, jazz hands.
I'm a
jazz
human.
hands.
I'm alive.
How are you guys?
Oh, we're so
Fantastic.
great.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, really, really. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, most definitely. Our viewers, our listeners, they'll know Lily because she's our new producer on the show, and for everybody that's not familiar, Lily, tell us a little bit about yourself and Tattered Tales, how you're working with Luke, and how the hell did you get wrapped up in a guy like me too, doing a show like this?
How do you get wrapped up in us?
Yeah.
That's the true question.
Oh, right place, right time. I think that's the story of a lot of my success so far in the entertainment industry. I've been a lifelong entertainmentaholic, watching films, making music, and my partner Luke and I were in LA for 7 years, digging into that whole bonanza, and eventually, we became kind of moguls, I guess, of the audio entertainment
I like that.
world. We were really lucky enough. This is our first kind of baby. Tattered Tales was what jettisoned us off into the audio world. And so after that, we've been moving forward ever since. And I was lucky enough to meet you through the amazing meme foundation.
Yeah.
What is the is that the acronym? I'm probably butchering it. It's
Nakova or
Nakova, right?
There
right.
we go. I was like, meme.
Well, they have one that it's like ME.
Yeah.
No, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But
I think that's their company. Yeah. Nick and Amber.
Yeah, Nick and Amber.
Right.
Was lucky enough to meet Nick at the American Film Market for another project, and was amazed when I was there. I was like, there's such a vibrant film community in Colorado, and linked up with you, heard about COFOH, and I was like, dude, let's get this bad boy on the air. Let's make some audio of it. And so now here we are, and I've been lucky enough to help transition the show onto all podcasting platforms, which has been amazing and such a fun experience. And I'm so excited to get this out there. I'm a longtime horror lover myself, and so it's been so much fun to get to kind of be a partisan to all of the weird, wacky, wonderful guests on the show.
Yeah, we have those. We definitely have those in spades,
Myself included.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Don't leave us out.
Yeah, in good company.
Yes. Yeah. Come play in this sandbox. There's sharp objects. Just warning you.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Luke,
love it.
yeah. Tell me how you met Lily and you guys, started Tattered Covers.
Tattered covers, close. I mean, I hope we're in the tattered cover bookstore one day. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be pretty cool. Do a live show from Tattered Covers.
Tattered
see,
Tales,
that
the
would be
tattered cover.
amazing.
Love it.
Tattered
I would
Tales.
love to.
Writing it down.
We would love to move into more of a live radio play, sort of where we're doing the sound effects and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. I think that would be so much fun. Me and Lily met in the sandwich shop, but that's a long time ago. But when we started working together, I went to school in LA for audio engineering, and I went there for music because I'm a musician at heart, and fell in love with the creation of worlds and I had no idea or I was unaware that sound was so integral to storytelling.
Right.
And once I figured that out, where it's the backgrounds, it's everything that goes into it that makes the episode or makes the movie amazing, I just fell in love with doing that. And when you don't have very many budgets to work with, audio just makes it easy. So we just started telling stories with audio and with the equipment that we had, and we realized we had something really, really fun here. And Lily jumped on as one of our producers and one of the script writers, and it sort of just took off from there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, tell me a little bit about with Tattered Tales. How do you guys come up with the stories that you tell?
That's
We're very
mostly
lucky that we have a genius screenwriter behind us. So the showrunner's name is Joe Wakefield, and his partner and producer Lizzy Ana Wakefield. They are the foundation of everything we do, and we're very happy for them. They would have been here, but they just had their first child this week. So we're adding to the Tattered Tales
it's amazing.
cult family as we speak.
Another little writer.
Yeah, I hope so. Joe is one of the most talented screenwriters, that I think we've both encountered. And
absolutely.
I mean, Luke, I guess, do you want to talk about Four Levers and the start of the fun?
Yeah. So Four Levers was a script that Joe wrote in college for a thesis, I do believe. Nice. And the budget just didn't work out. I think it was at the start of the pandemic. Was it at the start of the pandemic? Well, they couldn't actually make it actually make the production. So he called me super bummed one day and was like, "Hey man, we're not going to be able to make this. I know you're supposed to do post on it." Well, I was like, "Well, why don't we got to do something. It's an amazing script." Yeah. So we got all these actors together in our small 1-bedroom apartment in central LA and started reading the script and, going over things more and more, and did sort of a production read of it all. And we loved it. And that sort of birthed the whole thing.
Nice. So you guys have been doing this just for a few years. It probably feels like forever, right? But since the beginning of the pandemic, so to speak.
Yeah, I think our first idea to do a radio play, I think I did one back in 2017. Yeah. And then I did more live sound and was touring and doing different things like that. And then we sort of came back to it. So I think we have 4 seasons over 4 or 5 years.
4, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, doing these, they're full-fledged productions. You take away the visual elements, but you've got to get all the sound effects. You've got to edit, everything. A lot of post-production goes into it. A lot of different, takes to get the, the right, phrasing and everything, and all the nuances in there too. How long does it take to produce an episode?
Well, it takes a while. That's why we end up doing about 1 episode a month. Just because of the scale of the production. We were very lucky during the pandemic to figure out a way to do Zoom recordings with actors. So we work with actors from all over the world at this point.
Yeah.
And So the general process goes, we get the script from Joe. We all approve it. We make any notes we need to. Either Lizzy or myself will then go on and cast.
Cool.
We have a immense spreadsheet of different voice actors that we're always adding to.
Very long.
Huge. And so then we'll cast, and then it's really from there, it's just like kind of a film. It's the juggle of schedules and figuring out timelines for everybody, getting everything organized. Then I'll go through and do a dialogue edit, or Luke will do that too. This season, we've been kind of jumping off as different projects come up for all of us. But that's the other thing too, is where it's a balance of we all have multiple projects and day jobs. And so it very much is that delicate dance of schedule. And then, of course, you have, once everything of the foundation of the dialogue is in place, then Luke works with whoever's directing that episode and goes through an immense spotting session, an hours long of every beat by beat moment. And we've really developed the process from that. We started out very like Foley heavy and a lot of footsteps and a lot of breath work and really trying to maximize the sounds. And now we've discovered through, just a process of experience that there's a delicate balance there too of what works. And so we're, as much as Joe is the storyteller, I mean, not everybody's lucky enough to have a Luke Fischer on the other end doing all the post-production. It really helps to have somebody
I'm gonna blush.
No, but it's true. Who's a dedicated sound engineer and sound designer and has the experience of working in film, so that we really are telling a visual story through an auditory medium in a completely different way than I feel like how most people tackle an audio drama. And so now, and then it's adding in the foundation of Foley and music and background and the cherry on top of sound effects, mastering, and everybody listens to it multiple times and gives notes, and then there's another edit, and then ultimately it's released. So, it's basically like we're doing a short film every single month.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty delightfully intense, that process. It sounds like it definitely takes a small village to kind of bring this to light. I did listen to a couple episodes earlier today. The one that kind of stuck out to me was about a lady that moved into like an apartment complex and could hear.
Oh, crazy! Yeah, that's a great one.
None of the other tenants were like copying to, or maybe they just didn't hear the rats at night and stuff. So I thought that was pretty fun. That was definitely a good one, where you could hear all those sound effects, because it's like all these characters were like, oh, do you hear the rats? Oh no, don't hear any rats, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean that's a great one, where you can really build that soundscape and figure out that mood. I think there was another one too that I forget the name of it, but it sounded like a lot of the narration was sports casting. I think it was some kind of.
Oh yes, the Snail Mountain Derby. I acted in that. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, it's those are great episodes to start, man. Those are some of our most involved. So.
Yeah, it sounded like it, because you've got different sound qualities to make it sound like it's a sports announcement, but it's also providing all that narration, so it's setting up all that vision.
Yeah, totally.
And it was really good to hear that.
That's a delicate thing too, and really it's fun because what we've really discovered so much from starting out. The earlier episodes are very much focused, like there's a specific narrator we're like, I don't know how you're going to be able to picture what's happening. And as we've discovered, Joe's done amazing techniques. I've worked really hard as well to figure out ways of showing the exposition without having that person being like, and then they walked across the room. So I love the sportscasters was a genius idea for Joe. And, the next kind of couple that we're working on even push that boundary, further and further. And we're constantly kind of exploring, like, how far can you take it, or what ideas can you play with that you're not having a narrator, but you're still being able to like follow what's happening with the story.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think as my job as the sound engineer, I try to make every sound down to a footstep or a rat in a wall or a snail or a sports announcer as authentic as possible. I feel like that's my job. So like in our Nightmare Duel, it was about a Wyoming cowgirl who goes and has this fight with a zombie sort of crazy creature. And so I went to Wyoming and recorded the winds and tried to make it as authentic to Wyoming and to what it was in the story. And that's what I sort of tried to do with all our sounds, where, you bring in that element of realism on top of sounds that people can identify, oh, that's a rat, even though they might not have said a rat, or, all those little different things to sort of bring out the core of the story of what we were trying to go for. Is it creepy? Is it adventure? Is it another world? What are we going for? And then you build that world, right? You just start taking those elements of the story and taking elements of the characters and all those things and trying to add those layers of sound to truly make something different and immense.
Yeah, with that immensity too. I mean, there's a lot. I can only imagine, how deep that soundscape can actually be just to get like the slightest little nuance.
Oh my God! Sometimes I have to restart because I'm on like 50 layers of sounds, and Lily listens to it and is like, "I have no idea what is going on there."
Right.
We need to break down some things and figure it out. So.
Nice. Yeah. The awesomeness about this, being a production and everything, it kind of harkens back to, some of the classical radio days of, those live radio shows. You've got, like for me, I as a kid, I would listen to the old, 1930s, 1940s, Superman radio shows.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and then there's like Little Orphan Annie, but you also have like some like readings of like War of the Worlds, which is
totally.
That's just, not only is that famous, but it's also infamous because supposedly it started like a whole
didn't people die or something crazy?
It was it's interesting to hear about like some of that stuff, but there's such a huge tradition in that, and it seems like today there's a number of people, especially with podcasting, going back and kind of revisiting that, and revisiting how that medium can really be used and utilized to
absolutely
cool stories and spooky stories. And the nice thing is too, since you don't have that visual element, oh wow, you just set up that feeling and tone and let your imagination just take over,
run wild.
Yeah, just kind of spook yourself that way. It's like, how cool is that?
I mean, that's where the idea for Tattered Tales really draws a lot of inspiration. And, Joe and Lizzy and me and Luke are all such big fans of that kind of storytelling. And we're really excited for this next season coming out because it's focused on really like old movie monsters. Every episode, it's like the first season we've had a full theme all the way across.
Wow.
So we're really excited to delve into that kind of like, we're going to have a werewolf. We're going to have a swamp monster. We're going to have a mummy, and kind of those old like Universal Studios monster days, which is so great to be able to play off of those tropes and then add a kind of a new modern spin on it. And, the podcasting kind of revolution has been so amazing for creators in that regard, because you really have such a freedom. Like Luke said, it's a freedom of budget where I don't have to worry about how we're gonna crash an alien spaceship or get giant
Go land
snails
on
to
Mars
race.
or something. Yeah, exactly.
But it's also a freedom to re-explore those old stories, which is amazing for us.
That's cool.
100%.
So that's really exciting. That you announced that you're going to have this continuous theme of monsters for the next season. That sounds absolutely wonderful and right up our alley, of course.
Yeah.
We love monsters, allegorically, and just the stupid kid in us, and this is one big stupid kid.
I mean,
big
us
kid.
too.
I don't know about
Big kid.
stupid, but
Yeah.
they're just a big kid now.
Yeah, big man child.
Yeah. You got to keep that child alive, man. There's so many things that, like, if you can feed that sort of creative side of life and bring out those feelings of joy and excitement and terror, but something that's out of the norm of your day, I think that's what I try to do. I love just to excite and get people to get away from their regular day to day.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what good art does. It's
100%.
it can be a wonderful in escapism, but it can also be a nice teaching tool and something that whole communities can connect over. And I think what you guys do is exactly that. I keep picturing, it's like, wouldn't it be awesome to just like you'd sit next to the radio in front of the roaring fire, just open up the laptop, still sit in front of the roaring fire.
It's sort of the thing, yeah.
Gonna get friends and family together to kind of enjoy the next episode. And I'm with podcast culture, and I don't know if this is true for like the storytelling, or not platform, but genres that exist on podcasts. But I'm just so used to like the commentary, fields where you've got your Joe Rogans and your I don't know what else, but they just go on for hours.
All of them, yeah.
It sucks the life out of you, But like with your episodes, I mean, it's like 30, 40 minutes, and you've got a complete story. It's like a full spooky meal. That you can digest pretty easily, which is something I appreciate. I like short stories.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there's such a magic to the short story format, you get to play a little bit more, and the pack's a little bit of a punch. And also, I mean, I feel like personally that's why we also strive for shorter episodes. One, just because that's what we like to listen to also, and we're always trying to make creations based off of a place of would I listen to this, but also because it's so immense and it's so workload heavy. We found that if you were to try to do a story that pushes an hour long like that, you're in the realm of taking like a whole nother month of work to
Easily
go through, because it's like then it's the comparison of a short to a feature. You're suddenly like in this whole different
100%.
realm.
Yeah.
And I also feel like if you can't tell a story within 30 minutes, you start over, because they give you enough time to be able to say something compelling, honest, that it really pulls at things that people can interact with. And if you can't get it concise like that, it's like you gotta go back to the drawing board.
Right. For everybody that's watching and listening out there, we do have the the Spotify link to Tattered Tales, scrolling at the bottom and stuff, and we'll post it again in the comment section a little bit later too. But in the kind of the economy of podcasts, do you have to sustain yourselves, even with the there's limited expense, right? But you still got equipment and everything like that, and
Mm-hmm.
you do have talent and all that. Is that something where you have to like set up like a Patreon or anything like that in order to maintain?
We are in the works of having a Patreon getting going. That's kind of the next steps for us.
Nice.
We've been truly blessed and just fortunate enough that a lot of the actors that we work with are generous enough with their time and interested enough in the stories that they've been working for free. And I really just want to acknowledge that you
100%.
know, it's podcasting is a slow burn. It takes, we're in it for 4 years, and we're just now kind of seeing enough listenership to justify doing a Patreon and moving forward and trying to start upping our expenses. But it's really the people along the way that have worked with us, the actors, the screenwriters, the collaborators, Joe and Lizzy. But I mean, really, because the performance is on the actors, I do just have to acknowledge that these people are amazing and they've been like with us along the way. And we're so grateful to everybody that's participated with it, because we couldn't have done this without the performances. That's really what, you can add as many sounds and make the sound beautiful. But if you don't have the performance, you've lost the audience.
Right.
And so we're just on this amazing ride, and we're kind of in a place where we're like bringing all of these amazing creators with us, and working hard so that the next level is really like being able to say, hey, awesome, now we're in a space we can pay you guys for your time and move into that kind of culture of actual payment. But their generosity of spirit has been what's made of this show possible.
I would 100% agree. I feel like the one thing that'll also turn people off is quality. If you listen to something and it distinctly sounds way different than something that you normally listen to, like an NPR show or something like that. So hitting that quality and understanding that just takes experience, and making a lot of bad decisions that don't sound good until they eventually do. So finding the people, like Lily said, is finding people that have the flexibility to work with me. I didn't think I was at the level that I am now with mixing of all sound effects, mixing all the elements that go into a film. And I've been so blessed to work with such generous people that have allowed me to grow and work with such amazing talent, right? I could get the quality level there, but if the talent isn't there, then we got something different. So it just takes a whole bunch of elements coming together in the right way. But it's all just about doing it as much as you can,
Right. Talking about like films and stuff like that. Without the quality of audio, it's so easy, even in the visual medium, that you get taken out of that film because the audio is doing this. It's pretty easy. And on so many film productions that I've worked on, it's audio that ends up being, falling by the wayside.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah, when really you need that to be your baseline. That needs to be, if that is...
It's the most important part.
What's that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so excited that someone actually said that, because I feel like on every film set, the thing that gets cut the most is audio.
Yeah.
It gets to the end of the day that they cut audio, or they have a friend's friend holding a boom pole. That is not what you want. The thing that will take you out of a film more than anything else is poor audio. You can have the best looking thing ever, and then your audio is not synced, or it's not up to quality, and you're instantly like, dude, that was terrible. So you got to bring that in. Thank you so much for saying that. I don't mean to be so excited about it, but it's like somebody's got to know.
It's true. I've worked on I've directed one project where we had quality that did this, but it's just like, let's get that. Who cares what the quality of the film is? Let's just try and get the audio where we can. It's as best as we can get it, and we felt for the time we did that, and then we learned quite a bit on what not to do next time. And you know, you tend to like, there's a lot of documentaries too where the camera quality can be just all over the place. You know, it's just whatever footage you can get. But a lot of times too, you know, so is the audio. It's just like right there, and it just takes you out. Um, but yeah, it's imperative to get that of course corrected and make that, you know, your
Yeah.
priority.
Well, and really, you know, like the cool thing about filmmaking and storytelling in any medium in general is that, you know, you're constantly learning. There's never really like a good enough. And you have to kind of like go through kind of like the crap and making a lot of things that you're not necessarily like super hyped on,
Right.
so that you can keep going and keep getting there and learn what values, you know, you're going to put forward and
Right.
what you're going to put the effort towards. And you know, for us, I think that's also a testament to sound itself, is that we can tell stories without any visual, and they are imaginative and expansive and visual in their own right. But you know, if we tried to do the same thing without the sound, exactly, people would be like, I can't. I mean, it's, you know, we're unfortunately in the binge culture of, if you don't have me in the first 15 seconds, I can go watch something else that I am gonna like.
Right.
So, you know, being able to tell those stories and hook people in without any visuals itself, like, that's sound. That's it. It's everything.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. Yeah. The now kind of switching gears here, kind of going back to your partners Joe and Lizzy. Joe, you know, he's the one that comes up with so much of the story content, right? You know, is there something that you guys have been working on that you realize, oh shoot, this isn't really working, and then you got to kind of, so to speak, you know, kind of drown that, you know, drown that child.
I don't know if we've ever drowned a child fully.
I think there's been one. There's only been one
Oh, we
episode
did,
that I
yeah.
can think of that, you know, we read through it, and at the time there was just something about it that really wasn't doing it. And otherwise, I mean, it's pretty amazing to say that other than one script, usually Joe will send something and it's like 2 or 3 notes, but overall you're like, this is fun, like, let's do it, this is crazy. But yeah, that one is actually awesome too, because there's an element of it that now is going to be like a through line in this next season that we did kind of like transition in. But yeah, overall it was you know, sometimes the dynamic between characters isn't gelling, or there's themes that we're exploring that we're like, you know, we've kind of seen this or done this, or we don't want to be put in a certain box. So that was like in that one script, we figured that out, and then since then we are very clear, and that's really too, like, you have to have a good team with you, and you have to be able to communicate with your team. And it's something that we've all, you know, the 4 of us have learned making this over the years, is like, how do we communicate? How do we make sure that everybody's voice is heard? And really, like, how do we make sure that everybody's perspective is valid and is adding in? Because you know, when you're working on something, it's so hard to like, you know, quote unquote kill your baby, which is like, I don't know, I feel bad saying that now that they just had a kid. I'm like, okay, I have to find another like a metaphor
Yeah, you
to
just
slash the tires. I don't know. Yeah, to like
melting your
make your
ice cream.
soup.
there you go.
But really, like, it is, you know, we've, like any sort of team, you hit snags, you have miscommunications, you have like feelings come into play. We're all friends first, and that's really a beautiful thing for us, is that, you know, we've worked together on other projects before we did this, and we've been friends before that. So now working on this is very much a project of us like figuring out exactly how do we communicate, what needs to be done. We all have such a clear vision and expectations for what the idea of the central show is, that now we can move forward without a lot of those snags. Or if those snags do come up, then we're all able to immediately say like, hey, what is happening here and then adjust it so that we're right back on track.
Yeah, I think with creative projects, you have so much of your own soul going into them. So when somebody disagrees, it's not just like, oh, you're disagreeing at work. It's like, dude, no, I put so much time and effort into that. And like, I think my babies, oh, I'm going back to this, but I think my sound babies get killed more than like our stories. There's a lot of times where I'll like build something that I think is great or amazing. And I'm like, Lily, look at this. Like, hear this. Isn't this great? And they'll go, yeah, no, that I don't like this at all. And it's like, no, but I worked so hard on it, but it's good. You got to do that. You got to chop a little bit of the, cut a little bit of the fat to make it what it's going to be. But when you put so much of yourself into something, your initial reaction is, no, that's me. You're saying no to me right now, and that's not okay. But it's not. It's saying it's just to better the project, and I really feel like that was a big change for me, where it wasn't about like criticizing me or my work. It was mostly about like, hey, let's make the show better. And once you have that frame of mind of like everything's about making the show better,
right?
Then you can get past things and move and actually grow as an artist a lot more.
Right. Now that's that is a good insight to have on that creative process. With you mentioned that we've got the next season to look forward to. Yeah, can you tell us when the new episodes are going to start dropping?
Soon.
I think we're gonna say the 15th of next month, just because we were kind of on track, and then of course the joy of Joe and Lizzy having their first child.
Their child.
We're kind of now in this new space, so we're actually really excited to be like, okay, what's coming next? But we have everything planned out. We have scripts written, and the first episode is recorded.
It's almost in the can. It's almost there. We have a little bit more to go, but it's very, very close.
Yeah, and it's super fun. And so our hope is starting next month that there'll be new episodes from there on out.
Cool.
And it's a monthly thing, so like generally the 15th is our special day. But we're just so excited to keep doing this. It's something we've been working on for so long, and I can't really like picture like going forward and not having some sort of Tattered Tales thing going. We're so fortunate to be doing our first live show actually at the Colorado Festival of Horror in September. We're beyond excited.
So excited! Oh my God, I'm so excited.
That's kind of a whole new world for us, and it's something we've all desperately been dreaming of and like on our vision board of what's Tattered Tales gonna do next. There's that audience engagement thing, and again going to like, we have a soundboard, or what are we doing? We have a saw in the background for thunder, and like being able to have people there. So we can't wait for the Colorado Festival of Horror. Honestly, we're so excited for that. So everybody listening and watching, please come. It's such a vibrant community of creatives, and we can't wait to be there to see everybody and to experience the whole thing.
And it's a culmination of a dream for me. I just wanted to jump in and say that I grew up listening to Prairie Home Companion on NPR, and they did all of the live, and it's just been a dream of mine to be able to do something like that and to give us the opportunity and have. It's going to be amazing. I've put so much time and effort into it already, and I can't wait to do it. So,
can you tell us a little bit about what your if you've got a plan? I know it's like we're 6 months out, but can you tell us a little bit about what the plan is to do it live? Like, what does that take? Because I have no idea, and I've got to program you guys.
So my head around it and sort of my outline is we're going to have 3 to 4 actors doing multiple characters that'll be up like a panel. With Joe having a child now, we were going to do a pick your own adventure, and he was going to write like 6 scripts that we could sort of kick it to the audience and say, hey, like, where would you guys want to go? And it would sort of switch into that.
Wow.
Now we're going to do something really fun about like probably a new script, but we'll have the 3 to 4 actors. I will have a MIDI soundboard that I will be launching sound effects and, oh, they creep to the door, and I will be playing all of those things and doing all of that. And I'll be bringing in the music, or we'll sort of mix it all live. And we're going to run so many rehearsals before this thing. But yeah, and so getting all the core of like the world building, and we'll sort of build the world in and then do it all live.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. You know, stuff like that, especially with doing anything live, there's always that chance for amazing gaffes, you know,
oh yeah.
Are you guys going to be able to, be able to pivot and use it to your strength, or do you think it's going to be something, humor is also a bit of a strength, just kind of, be able to,
100%.
We screw that up. We'll have to make fun of ourselves. I mean, because and trust me, I do that all the time. It's just like, oh crap, I just blew out on live. So, it's.
Yeah. I mean, I think as our wealth of experience as musicians, we sort of understand, like, you're going to hit a bad note. You're not going to hit the exact octave you want to hit, but you almost bring those elements into it, right? And we'll have actors who are amazing. I think Heston Mosier, who's just one of the biggest talents in Colorado, I think, here now. And so he's an amazing actor, very experienced in theater. And so he'll know how to sort of glide with it and be able to pivot the way that it needs to go. And maybe I'll have like a ham horn or something, be like, wham, wham. If something bad happens, just like a sort of kick to a sound that sort of can mask the whole thing. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I mean, really, like, while we are a spooky sci-fi horror anthology podcast, so much of what we do is based in comedy, and you can't really have like good horror without some good comedic moments.
Right.
And like Luke said, so many of the actors that we work with are truly amazing, incredible. I can't like go on enough live performers. So I'm personally so excited if that, things come up, and that's part of the fun of the live setting, feeding off the audience's energy, and maybe there's like an inside joke that then comes up that people laugh at, that we just keep going. Like, there's so much potential for interaction that I'm almost more excited for things to get messed up than for everything to go right.
That's a great way to look at it. That's awesome. I love that.
I like that. That's awesome. This sounds absolutely exciting. And now my imagination is going, places. So
that's what we hope.
As it should. Yeah. As we should.
So yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys bring to the live show, and I can't wait to see our audiences just eat up what you guys are putting down. I can't wait for that. That's going to be a lot.
We can't either. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So we've got just a few more minutes, but I kind of wanted to go back to something. You guys are amazing creatives. You're doing these live shows, but first and foremost, you started out as fans. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you might have grown up on, that's horror related, that really kind of has been nuggets or germs that have really stayed with you and kind of grown with you?
I'll start with this one because Luke is very new to the horror world, and he's just now expanding his horizons.
I always loved it. I will say I always loved it, but I think I saw The Exorcist when I was like 9, and it just messed me up. And I just don't think I could watch or get into that sort of style for a decade plus until that happens. So, nice. But I love it. I want to say, but go. Really?
Yeah, I was obsessed with horror from a very young age. The first book that I remember reading was like in the third grade, and I somehow found a copy of Stephen King's It, and it was like a shared middle school library, and I just was obsessed. So Stephen King is always that was my first foray into reading horror, and it's really was a huge influence on the way that I saw the world and absorbed it. But I'm a huge fan of Korean horror. The film I Saw the Devil, really. I mean, I'm loving
That's
things that are
intense.
just traumatic, that are like
Yep.
intense.
That is
Um,
pretty intense.
Trauma.
yeah, so trauma. But really, I think there's, the cool thing about horror for me is like there's so much beautiful aspects of humanity in those stories, and
Right.
I loved, of course, like Freddy Krueger in the 80s. That camp is also something that really influences a lot of what I write personally for Tattered Tales. I'm all about like haunted houses, ghosts. I'm writing a script for this next season that's about a mummy in an abandoned amusement park, and it's like an animatronic, and I'm
It's so
always
cool.
like been
That's cool.
fascinated by animatronics. I think they're so creepy and amazing. The urban exploring and like shut down Disney parks and their faces like melting off and stuff. It's just something that has always been like in my sphere. But then also like I've always had very vivid dreams and very vivid, like horrifying nightmares, which may or may not be because of what I was watching from like that was really all I was interested in. If it was like happy, it was like Barbie Swan Lake. No. Like I want to
I'll give you
watch The
that.
Exorcist. I want to watch Children of the Corn. But that is a huge influence to a lot of the work that I do and a lot of the writing that I do, even outside of Tattered Tales, is, the weird and the eerie is something that is just so fascinating to me in an endless level. Like I'm always on Instagram, like I want to hear the weird, just the weird. I want to see what's out there. I believe, and so anything that I can get that, kind of scratches that itch, I'm like, let's do it. Like the scarier the better.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
Luke, so The Exorcist really effed you up, huh?
Yeah. I just it got more and more where I just like would steer clear of horror. But when I got older, it was just like I got to this point where I think I was just afraid, but I wasn't going to admit it. So I was like, "Why do you guys even want to watch that? It's like about death and like so dumb." But it's not that I was actually just a wuss. It wasn't like I was like not into it. But then the more and more I got into sound, I realized that the greatest genre for sound engineers, I think, is horror.
Yep.
It's so based upon, it's almost like the jazz of music. It's like I'm jazz of music, jazz of films, but it's about the notes you don't play, right? It's building up before the jump scare of complete silence, almost like unsettling silence, and using those empty spaces. So that's when I started really falling in love. And then, Lily started showing me so many things. I still don't watch it by myself, I'll admit it. I haven't picked a horror film to watch by myself, but I really do love diving in. And in my older years now, I feel like I have such a big pool to sort of draw from because I haven't watched horror in my whole life. So it's like I have all the 80s horror and the 90s horror. I just started getting into the Screams. I just saw Scream 1 through 3. Which I think are great. They're, I like the funny that comes in there. That always, if you can get me, I'm a Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan sort of vibe is sort of what I would pick to watch. But, it's like, I get it. And so I really love, I love the art form. And I think that there's so much potential there that you can do.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Daniel? What is
that's what I want to know.
Your biggest influences? What are you loving?
Well, I think most of our viewers already know that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite. And it's not because I enjoy it. Like how people enjoy things, and it's like, oh, this makes me happy.
Yeah.
Terrifies me, and it gives me nightmares every time I watch the original. And it's for the lay person, they're like, oh, because it's so gory. There's no gore to it. It's just so well shot and visceral, and the soundscape. You'll appreciate this. The opening film where you hear that, it's unnerving, and I gravitate towards that. And it's like, not every film experience needs to be like a sensation of pure enjoyment. That's happy.
Totally.
Or pleasing. It can also be something that moves you to dread. And that's what
that's awesome.
That's what that original film does. None of the other films do it. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because it is the polar opposite of the first one. It's camp, it's slapstick, it's gross and bloody, but it's funny as fuck. And I mean, and there's like some amazing filmmakers that are coming up these days and have traveled through that genre that are just absolutely exquisite. And I've, again, viewers and listeners have heard me, preach about this. I find horror to me to be the most accessible. It's going to be, it seems like no matter what you do in the genre, that film will be talked about no matter what the quality is. Past, the award-winning darlings have come and gone. Yeah. This year you hear about, this film won this award. Next year you don't hear about it. This year, a horror movie came out. It doesn't find its audience for another 20 years. Yeah. But that's just a testament to that staying power, because sometimes that stuff it gets into you, and it stays there and it grows. So
that's super interesting to like. It's definitely the genre that can go into cult hits so much more than almost anything else. I mean, like blockbusters are set it and forget it, like nobody cares, but horrors, I mean, Evil Dead is still, that movie was made with no money or anything, and it's still a huge cult hit. I love that point. I think that's great. Super awesome.
That film has a massive, audience now, but you even go back, cinephiles will dig up like, I don't know, like, Vampire Ecstasy from 1971.
Okay.
And it's just so interesting to see that a film that doesn't really have an audience still finds an audience. And,
totally.
That something like that, of course, is like horror eroticism or something like that. But yeah, you get some weird ones, and then occasionally you get, and this isn't a nice argument or a conversation to have, but every now and then you get a film that kind of creeps along and does win all those awards. Silence of the Lambs is, I think, a good example. Mm-hmm. While it's an amazing suspense drama, it's also a slasher film.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that horror can go into that line. Like, you're not going to see that crossover from a kind of like traditional, like, you couldn't have the well, I guess you do have the whale, and then you have the walrus, which is like kind of in like the same sphere of experience maybe, but you're not going to see that crossover where you could have a horror genre. People suddenly, because it does explore those themes of humanity in the same way as any other film, but more accessible and maybe a little more viscerally and more memorable than. I
was going to play off that because I think it was great, because I think you're 100% right, Lily. It's horror, and I've never thought of it this way. It's so palatable. It's so flexible. You can do horror comedy. You could do horror thriller. Yeah, I mean, Shaun of the Dead, horror comedy. Then Silence of the Lambs is thriller. I mean, you can do so many. You could do Alien, which is a sci-fi film, but
sci-fi horror
made as a horror film.
Yep.
You know, so it's like, sorry, I thought that was a great point, Lily, because it's so true. You can just you bend it in so many ways, far more than I can't make a drama comedy or something. It doesn't really work as well.
Yeah. I think as the viewer too, like, we tend to project ourselves onto these characters that we're watching. So like Elise and I went and saw The Whale in the theater with Brendan Fraser. And yeah, I kept wondering, it's just like, it's a big drama and it's really heavy and it's very weighty, in terms of, it's content and some of its messaging and stuff. But I'm also like, what is the horror of that individual living inside that body, having to, you're basically trapped, and it's like, that has got to be just the most devastating, human experience. And meanwhile, he's portraying this sincerity and kindness, and and wanting to kind of share that with the world. I was like, man, how devastating is that? To want to do that and want to be that and trying to convey that.
Yeah.
But you're still stuck, in a cage that is of your own flesh. I mean, it is a body horror, film.
I could see that.
It's
beautiful performance. Yeah, I do have to just say, like, I have been
go for it. I was going to say it too. Yeah, I was going to say it too.
Brendan Fraser is our boy. Like
yes, dude, he is the man.
I mean, everything he's ever done. Both of us, like, that's something that unites us in our relationship. Is like we're Brendan Fraser like fans, and so to see that for him and really to be able to see him be able to portray such, like you said, like such a sincere character, but then also something that's so challenging, and to see his perspective on it as a performer was like, I was just so impressed and so happy for him, and finally like he got his day, and it's like honestly so well deserved. Like we both that was the one for the Oscars. We were like it's his moment, and we were, it's so cool for art to be able to like bring people along like that and to have that longevity. But again, one of the films that he made, The Mummy, like that's kind of a horror. Like it's fun, it's campy, but it's horror. Like it's a horror action film. And that's
I was just thinking while you guys were talking, it's like I want to see The Mummy 4 with led by Brendan Fraser and the entire cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once, directed by the Daniels.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I would watch the hell out of that.
They kill Tom Cruise somewhere in there. Somewhere in there, Tom Cruise's character comes back and they kill him.
Yeah.
Because that was the worst Mummy film. I like TC. TC's my boy. I will say I like Tom Cruise.
He's an action. Maverick 2 was good.
Maverick was great. I left the theater as an audio person. Guys, it deserved the award. If you get a chance to see it in theaters, see it in the Dolby Atmos, they made that sound, and that film sounds so unbelievably good. Like, I came back to our house, I was just like, what? That was amazing. So, but yeah, that Mummy film was not good. Brendan Fraser needs to come back. It's your time, man. So that's all I got to say. PSA on that. It's your time, bro. Do it again.
That's awesome. Lily, Luke, we're about out of time. Is there anything that we didn't, really go over that we want to touch up on?
Oh, no. I've just had the
I
best
think
time
it's been
talking
great.
with you. Thank you for the platform to talk about Tattered Tales. It really is such an important project to us. And really, I just want to make one last shout out. Joe and Lizzy, we love you
Yes,
guys. We're
please.
so blessed to do this project with you. And again, all of the actors that have ever been on Tattered Tales, you guys supporting us and doing this, like that's really, I
Thank you,
cannot
thank you,
thank
thank
you
you.
enough. And I cannot extend enough appreciation towards you and your craft. And Daniel, for you for giving us this opportunity to talk about it and to do the live show. I mean, that's where art really like makes me so happy, and I'm so grateful to be an artist because it's the community around us that makes this all possible. So that's my last piece. It's just like I'm so filled with gratitude that we get to do this.
Yeah, they really hit it on nail on the head. I can't really add more. Just thank you, everybody. This has been such an amazing experience, and thank you for giving this goofy bastard a platform to talk about stuff. So, you know.
Well, as far as goofy bastards go, we can smell our own kind.
I knew we were friends. There we go.
Yeah. And of course, to Joe and Lizzy out there, congratulations on your new
Seriously.
bringing your new writer friend into the world. And it's guys, thank you for being so generous with your time and coming on the show and sharing all the cool stuff that you guys do. It's been really cool and enriching.
Oh, well,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
again.
The pleasure's
Seriously,
all
this has
ours.
been
Yeah.
such an amazing conversation. So thank you so much.
Thanks, and stick around for a few minutes while we sign off. But again, thanks for all your time and your conversation, and of course, for everybody that's out there that's watching this, make sure to go to the Spotify. The link is down, scrolling below. Grab a screenshot and go over there and subscribe to Tattered
Please.
Tales.
And it is
Please do.
available on all streaming platforms. So if you're like, man, I don't have Spotify, don't worry, we got you. It is on everything. So you just listen wherever you listen, and we're there for you.
That's awesome. So it'll be on Craigslist too.
Yeah, also Craigslist.
Of course. I mean, that's
For a
where
price. We gotta make
everything
money.
goes. I mean, come on now.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks again. And of course, to all our sponsors out there, to Mutiny Information Cafe. If you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And of course, our friends at Hellfire Entertainment. Thanks for rebroadcasting us on your social media. To Groovy TV and to Alien Donut Films and Angela Joseph Productions, to Bill and Angela over there. Thanks for putting up with my shit. And of course, to Lily, my producer on here. Yeah, I should bring
She's
you
amazing.
Yes, I should bring you on live sometime, a little bit more often, And,
I love it. And I'm hooked. Now you're going to have to be like, listen, we're going to have to cut you out. Get me behind the microphone. I'm like holding on at the Oscars. Like, no, they're like pulling me off.
Actually, I have one more thing to say.
I have one more thing to say. Remember the Titanic?
Yes.
Oh.
I was in the band, not on the Titanic yet. It doesn't know, but
Infamous.
And of course, to my additional producers, to Stefan Santa Cruz and Amanda Armstrong, thanks so much for putting up with my shit. Also, and to everybody out there, have a good night. Be good, be kind, help each other out during tough times, and stay spooky, everybody. Till next time.